All right, back now dissecting everything we heard the last few hours here on MSNBC. Rachel Maddow, Chuck Todd still with me. So, Rachel, on the Democratic side, you interviewed both of these candidates tonight. Here's what jumped out at me from these two interviews. We talk about Donald Trump in these comments. There's so much discussion about media's coverage of Donald Trump. Is it too much? Are they covering him the wrong way? This was really interesting to me because this subject came up. You asked them about Donald Trump's abortion comments. You asked Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton went out of her way in her answer to you to say, this is something the press needs to be covering. They need to be pressing him on this. They need to be getting out there what he says on this. You asked the same thing to Bernie Sanders, and he said, the press should mention this, but this is just a stupid thing Donald Trump says. Basically, he's saying, focus on something else. Two very different views of what the significance of this.
Yeah, and actually it happened chronologically in the reverse order, because I ended up having this interview with Hillary Clinton, and then Donald Trump made his comments. Then I had my interview with Bernie Sanders. Then I went back out into the streets of New York City, found Hillary Clinton again in order to get her comment on Trump. So Bernie Sanders had already told me at that point, when I'd asked him about Trump's comments, he'd said, basically, yes, they're terrible. Here's all the reasons I disagree, but everything Trump says gets too much media coverage. Every stupid thing he says. I said, are you sure this is just a stupid thing he said that the media should be ignoring? And he effectively said, listen, the minimum wage and climate change and these other things should be discussed more. It could be mentioned, but not dwelt on. I put that to Hillary Clinton and said, is he right about that? Are we giving this too much attention? And she absolutely rejected that and had the opposite take. So, I mean, in part, I think it's analysis of whether or not media coverage is the responsible thing to do to Donald Trump, or whether it is what's fueling him and therefore the irresponsible thing. I also think it's a substantive difference between the two of them about whether or not abortion rights is a central issue in this campaign. And I think Bernie Sanders is saying, listen, I'd rather talk about the minimum wage than abortion rights. And Hillary Clinton is saying this is just as central an issue as anything else.
And Chuck, a minute ago, you were talking about Wisconsin on Tuesday, potentially as a turning point in the Republican